Peace, family, peace, 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 peace. All right, I hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. If not, do understand and get is going to get better once your perception gets better. So, this video is about triggers, is about abandonment, experiencing abandonment issues. And this happened with my ex, okay? So, yesterday, I had asked my ex if he could pretty much, well, my children's father, my youngest children's father, if he could bring me to Whole Foods yesterday. And so he picked me up, and I thought we was going to Whole Foods, but he was taking the children to the park, our children to the park, and they little cousin. And so I went for the ride and things of that nature. And when I got to the park, right, with him, because he went to go play basketball, and me and the children, we was pretty much, I was sitting on the benches and stuff like that. And this is what I noticed. Now, before we got to the park, he pulled up to his house, right? And like all his family was pretty much, well, some of his family was on a porch. And I felt, like I was like, hey, whatever, like hi and stuff like that. But I felt like looking for validation, like seeking for validation. And one of the ways that I knew that I was seeking for validation was because after he was like on a porch and, talking to his family and stuff like that, and our children went, to the porch to talk to their, family, which is his family, I went on YouTube Studio instantly, right? And the reason I went on YouTube Studio instantly was to look at my numbers, right? And one of the things that I talk about a lot is awareness. And whenever you are aware of things, you can change it. And so by me looking at my numbers on YouTube, right, to see how many subscribers I have, it made me feel like, like I'm doing it, like people know my name, and, all this like egotistical, behavior, right? And so after that, and I noticed another place where I do that at too is when I go pick up my children from school. I don't do it all the time, but it's times where as though like I may feel like some uncomfortable, like being uncomfortable, and I may turn to looking at my numbers on YouTube and stuff like that. So that's something like I noticed, and it's so funny because a lot of times we may say, well, I do it, I healed it, I do it, I wasn't seeking, outside validation. And one of the things that keep coming back up to me is that people cannot give me anything, right? And what that merely means is that people are wish-washy, people are flippity-flop, right? Like people, oftentimes we want people to do certain things for us and they can't do it, not because they don't want to do it, because oftentimes they don't even know what it's like, right, to do it. And so I started thinking about my ex, right? And one of the things that I started thinking was, and I had this aha moment after I meditated this morning. I started thinking, because in my meditation session, I was thinking, like, why do I feel this way? Like when I get around him, not all the time, but sometimes, and not feeling good enough, right? Feeling like I'm left out, feeling like, abandonment, like, feeling all these different emotions. And one of the things that I had started understanding in my meditation session today was that I'm seeking something from him. Like I'm seeking his approval. I'm seeking something from him that he cannot give me, right? And it's been like that in other relationships too. And one of the things you have to understand is people are always reflecting back to you exactly how you showing up. And so, what are some of the things that you can do to change it, right? To change from, seeking validation from outside people, And some of you guys know, I said 30 days for the YouTube, and I've been posting and stuff like that. And that's another topic for another day, but pretty much is like, like trying to force what's the universe have in store for me, trying to force it to hurry up and come, right? But today I said this video, I really want to do this video because I know it's someone else out there that may be experiencing the same exact thing. As though at times they get around certain people that make them feel, or I don't want to say that make you feel, but certain people probably trigger those abandonment issues that you may have, right? And for me, one of the things that I did this morning was I had decided, right? Because I always tell you guys, we all have choices, right? We have a choice whether we're going to stay in that spot, whether we're going to continuously seek outside validation and constantly be let down, right? And one of the things that I had got from Abraham Hicks is that whenever you are looking outside, right, from source, constantly looking for people to give you something, they cannot give it to you, because one minute they up, next minute they down. And so if you put, so to speak, all your eggs in one basket and say, well, this person is going to do it, this person is going to be, my love supply or whatever it is like that, when in all actuality, source, universe, God, whatever you want to call source, is actually your love supply. And so I was, thinking about that. And so some of the things that I did was I started playing love music, right? Like the Delphonics and the Whispers and, things like that, old school music, right? I started playing music and I started changing my perception of feeling like I'm not good enough, right? And telling myself I'm good enough, right? Telling myself now I am good enough. I am worthy. I am loved. Affirming yourself you can do, right? Affirmations is so, so phenomenal. Another thing that I started doing, I started making my children breakfast, right? And I started meditating and I started doing this video so I could get this off my heart, or get this energy out. So to the person that's out there, right, and you may be in a relationship, or maybe you're not in a relationship, maybe you go through this with your children's father or whatever, right? You could even go through this with friends, right? You can have your friends. Sometimes friends can be your trigger sets, whereas though maybe you have a friend, right? And that friend, she's like, she comes in your life and then next minute she's not there, right? Maybe when you need her the most, she's not there, right? It's plenty of times that I have been that friend, whereas though one minute I'm friends with the person, like we still friends, but like I disappear. Or I make plans with my friends and then in the last minute I cancel or whatever it is like that. And I never knew this was like an actual thing, like even your friends could be trigger points, until one day I was listening to Miss Iyanla Vanzant. And it was this caller who had called on the R spot. And the caller basically was saying like she has a friend, they've been friends for years, but every now and then her friend, it feels like her friend is abandoning her. And Miss Iyanla Vanzant said, well, what was it like for your childhood? And what was so phenomenal about this, not, her friend abandoned her, but what was so like phenomenal in the awakening of her being aware, right, that it stemmed from childhood. She was able to relate back and say, oh, my father abandoned me, and it feels like my friend doing the same exact thing. So this thing is real. But one of the things that I'm going to say is that you have the ability to rewrite your story. You also have the ability to choose what you want to constantly keep showing up in your life. Okay? And so if you constantly giving this thing so much energy, that's what's going to keep on showing up. So for me, I'm like, you know what? I realized, I'm aware that I was looking for him, me and him not even in a relationship, but I was looking for him to make me like the product of his attention, right? And instead of me doing it, I start putting myself on a pedestal. I start looking at myself like, oh girl, you it. Okay. So honey, I start getting dressed and feeling honey even before getting dressed, okay? I get up in here in this apartment, start doing the little 2 steps, okay, and start getting into rhythm, all right, and start affirming myself. So to the person that's out there, if you have someone that when you get around them, you feel a certain type of way, make yourself the product of attention, okay? And I know at times it can feel a certain type of way, right? But what you have to understand is people are only reflectors, right? They are holograms of what you are doing and how you are showing up. So with that being said, I catch you guys on the next one. And know that it starts with you, boo. Okay? All right, honey? It starts with you. Peace.